Hi there, explorers. Brian again, here to wrap up our tour of Asia. Today we're sailing away from the mainland and heading south to venture into the largest archipelago in the world, maritime Southeast Asia. Today's learning goals are to identify the island nations of this region and describe their land, peoples, and economies. As we head that way, look out for volcanoes. We're in the Ring of Fire, which created the islands in this region, and there are hundreds that are active right now as we sail past. You might even spot a few miners walking into the base of them to pull out pure sulfur ore. Pinch your nose, it smells foul. Ready, explorers? Because this is a huge subduction zone, there's a lot of seismic activity. Volcanic eruptions have created more than 30,000 islands in the region, each with their own unique biome. They are also subject to earthquakes and flooding in events such as the Sunda megathrust you learned about in Unit 1. None of these tropical islands are quite alike. Each island has a few unique species, like these extremely large corpse flowers, so named because they're huge and smell like they're decomposing. Nowhere else could you find a mushroom with body armor, or disguised as an octopus. And the ethno-linguistic landscape is just as varied as the plant and animal species. Indonesia and the Philippines are lands of contrast. They have huge populations and ethnic diversity. The Philippines has over 7,000 islands with 100 million people, which is nothing compared to Indonesia's 17,500 islands and over 274 million people, and the most densely populated island on Earth, Java. Perhaps more than any other country, Indonesia is a country of heterogeneity, which is a fancy way of saying it has a high level of variety. There are over 700 native languages, making it the second most linguistically diverse nation in the world. And there are several widely practiced religions. Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim country, with over 230 million followers of Islam. And there are 29 million Christians, a relic of European influence. But all of this variety begs the question: how do you think ethno-linguistic and religious diversity impacts decision-making within the government and mass communication? This is a great place to pause the video and respond to question 1 in your lesson viewing guide. If you guessed that communication can be slow and consensus can be tough to reach, you'd be absolutely right. The Indonesian government was formed when the region was decolonized by Europeans. Indonesia claimed everything formerly Dutch. The effect of so much diversity crammed into one country is that 5 different administrative zones had to be created because each zone has its own cultural identity and customs. From the great mosques and the Patsutsawi races in Sumatra to the mummies and national parks of West Papua, each zone has its own style of governance and for the most part runs itself like a confederation. Only East Timor has already successfully declared independence as of 1999. It is currently awaiting ASEAN to welcome it as a full member. Indonesia's economy is heavily focused on fruits of the land and sea, with major industries including farming, fishing, forestry, and mining. Taxes from these industries are spent on infrastructural improvements around the country. The Philippine story is a little different. Its islands were colonized by Spain, and Spanish was the official language in lingua franca for over 300 years, although over 100 others are still spoken. Roman Catholicism is still the predominant religion, and other elements of Spanish culture remain, blended with Southeast Asian culture, of course. The Philippines was then an American territory for about 50 years. Democracy was introduced, and Filipino and English became, and remain, official languages. Independence came just after World War II and has resulted in tremendous economic and population growth. But there is a struggle for so many people to find work, and millions of Filipinos have emigrated, hoping for employment somewhere else. By contrast, the one-city nation of Singapore, on the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, is the smallest nation of Southeast Asia. You can see almost the whole thing from here. Although Indonesia is home to the most densely populated island in the world, Singapore is much more densely populated as a whole country. There are only 270 square miles of space and almost 6 million people live here. What challenges do you think that a national population density of over 21,000 people per square mile presents for Singapore? And what solutions do you think are required to deal with those challenges? Pause the video and jot down a response on your PDF. Singapore has a deep natural harbor, making it an ideal trading post. To encourage modernization, Singapore invited outside businesses to trade and build. It remains one of the busiest ports in all of Asia and is home to many banks and tech companies, making it an influential part of the region, with one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world. However, with so many people and so much industrialization, pollution, waste, and overcrowding are problems. In recent years, the government has imposed strict rules regarding recycling and other practices to work toward cleaning things up. You can't even chew gum without a doctor's prescription. As a result, Singapore has a life expectancy of 84, among the highest in the world. Our final stop in Asia is the world's third largest island, Borneo, home to Brunei and Malaysia. Malaysia is unique in the region in that it is both a mainland nation and an island nation. Covering roughly the same amount of land as Mexico, it has a population of only a quarter as many people. Malaysia is broken up into 9 provinces, each with its own sultan, and every 5 years, the sultan serving as head of state rotates between provinces so that each province is represented. Do you think that a rotating monarchy promotes regional tensions or harmony between the provinces? Malaysia's economy has modernized quite a bit in the last 50 years. Their economy has progressed from primarily agricultural to one that is known for its electronics. The unifying cultural element in Malaysia is its fascination with food. Penang is consistently rated as one of the best tourist destinations for foodies. My favorite authentic Malaysian meal is a flat noodle stir-fry dish called char kway teow. But don't try this at home. Although Borneo is the world's third largest island, the only country that lies completely on it is Brunei. Brunei is small, with less than 500,000 people and only about 2,000 square miles of land. But it is rich in natural resources, especially oil. Because of this mineral wealth and Brunei's absolute monarchy, the Sultan is among the richest people in the world. He has over 7,000 cars, one of which is a 24-karat gold-plated Mercedes-Benz. I bet it doesn't get great gas mileage, though. But it's not all about his own personal wealth. Revenue from the oil industry has allowed Brunei to become a modern nation with widespread electricity, running water, cell networks, and Wi-Fi, and free schooling and healthcare for its citizens. As you can imagine, GDP per capita and life expectancy are high, as they are in Singapore. For our last question, let's think about the whole region of Southeast Asia. This region is home to socialist unitarian states, a rotating monarchy, absolute monarchies, constitutional monarchies, and republics. There is basically no consensus on the right way to govern here. There are majority Buddhist, Muslim, and Christian nations, as well as folk religious activities in all of these countries. And yet, all 10 of these nations are able to engage in peaceful trade through ASEAN. Do nations need the same form of government or the same religious values in order to get along? What lessons can be learned around the world from Southeast Asian cooperation? I would guess, based on the evidence at hand, that you've said no. It's definitely possible for people with different ideas to peacefully coexist, even when some of them are capitalist and others are socialist. Huh, isn't that something? And of course, we'd be remiss to leave Asia without one more taste of some cool animals, like this Draco lizard, which literally looks like a tiny dragon, or this lion-tailed macaque, who clearly means business. I have had so much fun exploring Asia with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon as we take our adventure to a new corner of the world. See you then, and as always, keep exploring.
Hey!